some wiring and get some directions. So you're looking at the most complicated part, I thought, was the testing your resistance and ohm readings and stuff like that. If you're not used to using ohm meters and stuff, it's kind of a complicated deal. Excuse me for this thing being kind of crumpled. But anyway, you read there, you get your electrical rough in, you got to make sure you just follow directions. Um, there's two models. One is a 120, 120. They call it 115, but it's usually 123 around here. Anyway, you kind of read the directions, make sure you get the right size box for what you're doing. Make sure you don't get too much of it. I have like a whole bunch left over. Put the strapping on the floor and all this kind of stuff, that's pretty easy. You got a system key, read about this, read about the heating table terminology. You know what this cold lead is. It's a black, it's not, you'll see in a minute, there's some black insulation around part of it. And that's part that's not heated. It's called the cold lead. That's where you're going to be taking your ohm readings. So, and they kind of give you some markers here when you're doing this, so you know when you get to halfway point, you're going to have enough to finish. Kind of a good idea. I notice they have these little clips, these little clips there. You'll see where I use them in the other room. You see this guy on this ladder? He's got that spool of wire. It's kind of a neat idea. I just rolled mine out into the yard and kind of pulled it to me. And he got a little bit. I didn't look at that. That was kind of a neat idea. But don't step on. One of the things I would recommend is don't step on. I'll show you in the other room, but don't step on the strap, because otherwise you'll be pulling them all off with a screwdriver. It's kind of annoying. But verifying the resistance, this is probably a pretty important part. You got these leads. These leads, you see them? Not a very good picture, but they got the leads, the little clips on the end, alligator clips. You don't want to do it with your fingers, so then your fingers will interfere with the reading. That's what the point is. So you do them together, and then you do them separate. On the side, you'll see an ohm reading on the side of your, at the end of where the black. I'll show you in a minute. Let's go in here. Yeah, trip it over something here. Anyway, on the wall actually here, I haven't even got this thing totally hooked up yet, because this house came with just two 110s, or sorry, 110. Came with a black and white wire, no ground. So it'll still work, but it'll flip when they put it on the ground fault test. It'll trip. But anyway, here's your cold lead. That black wire here. I got this thing on, but if you pull this, I pull the box out of the wall like this. If I wiggle that out of there, you'll see that there's a strap on the back. And on that thing, it'll say 20, it says 24 ohms, 24,000 ohms of resistance, which is when I took my test leads and hooked them up like the directions show, it did show 23,000 ohms of resistance, 23.2. And then I did a cold they want you to know if you have an open circuit, if it got broken, if you've got the ground lead here, if it's touching one of these leads in here, if they're touching somewhere, like if this got crushed and this lead's touching one of the heated leads inside, you're gonna have a problem. It's gonna flip a breaker or something. So you do this test to make sure that copper line isn't touching the heated leads inside. They're not touching. Causes a short. And so I actually did have a pinch here that I didn't know how to secure this. I was kind of getting too aggressive with it. Put two screws down together, trying to hold it to the floor, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I should do that. I kind of pinched my plastic, so I put some black tape around it and put some liquid nails on it. But you'll be surprised at how much wiring this was. This is like, it's like 120 feet of wire on the floor here for 50 square feet. The big deal is, really, I think the big deal about all this is, let me see if I can flip this around here. The big deal is another wonderful hair day. Huh? But seriously, if you have a floor that is, like, say, 2 inches deep, or sorry, 3/4. They don't want the mortar to be 3/4. Here, they don't want this any higher than 3/4 of an inch. If you have no heat below you, this is a basement, a crawl space, so it's not going to be heated. So they don't want any more than 3/4 of an inch. So anyway, let me just okay. I'm always having these great hair days. So it's very windy here. Like, we've had some crazy wind, so yeah, just kind of walking out, getting blown away. But 3/4 of an inch, that's what you want. No more than that when you have a non-heated floor down below you. So if you have a heated floor, you can have up to, I think it said, 2 inches of whatever on top. So that would be good if you were laying some of that synthetic type material. They have that styrofoam, and they have different materials out there that get pretty thick, and before you actually lay your tile. So anyway, this is my floor. This is about 40. This part here was 6x6. This part here was 6x3. It's 36, and then 20. So you got like 60 square feet, which isn't a whole lot. And then we're gonna have a vanity back there. So actually, if you want to see what it looks like here, actual thermostat. Turn it on here, and you can turn it up or down. Let's turn it up, and let's turn it down. See? And put your hand on that, and it feels pretty warm. Now what I'm getting ready to do is put down a skim coat over the wires. Now, I didn't particularly like this brand. There's other brands out there that are less complicated and less annoying. This took a long time to put all these little wires in this thing. And I had stepped on these things not realizing that they were so easy to crush. Little teeny prongs. So you don't want to step on the other way. You'd be taking a screwdriver and you'd be really at it, like I was. I was annoyed. But anyway, this is the step. This is the step that's probably pretty serious, because once you cover this with cement, it's got to be good to go, guys. So I hope that helped you. Give me a thumbs up from Dave's Handyman and HVAC Services, and pass along the good tips.